Did you guys hear the latest news on the Bill Gates front? As far as he's now talking about leaving everything up to AI and just having a 3-day work week? Sounds good in theory, right? As do all these other insane, crazy ideas.
We could have a battle royale.
From these psychopaths. Sociopaths.
Psycho.
Yeah, you know, just leave it all up to the technology. What's the worst thing that could happen? I suppose you haven't seen iRobot, Terminator, Ready Player One, Ex Machina, The Matrix. Should I keep going? Well, I don't think AI is all bad, but I'm going to give you my take on where I see all this going and where this all leading to. And I would love for all of your input as well, because this is definitely a multi-layered subject.
Layers!
Let's get to the video now. Let's find out where this whole 3-day work week idea comes from. Let's find out whether AI and artificial intelligence overall is 100% bad, or could it possibly be used for good as well, because this concept of duality. So let's find out now. What's happening, guys? Jared Weiss back here with another video on the Jared and James channel. If you guys didn't know that, must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know what you guys think of this video. Follow me on every platform I post regularly everywhere. So check me out wherever you guys listen to content. I'm there. Support the message, support the brand. So now, for today's video, as I already brought up in the intro, we're going to be talking about this idea of Bill Gates talking about this 3-day work week and just basically allowing AI to take over humanity.
Oh, hell no.
And we're going to see the implications of this. We're going to talk about the possible good things with AI and whether maybe it actually is meant to be here right now. We're going to weigh some of the pros and cons, and we're going to do a deep dive on the subject. So, as many of you guys know, as I've mentioned on here in the past, brought up with RJ and any of our rabbit hole roundups, any new technology that's around here now has been around for at least 100 years. The government's been using it.
Traveling with no issues, doing it all in style, and riding around on their advanced technology.
The military-industrial complex has control over this, and chances are there's nothing really new under the sun when it comes to technology. All this stuff has been around, and as RJ actually mentioned, the real unexplored technology is actually the wetware in our brains. But having said that, initially when AI first became mainstream, my initial thoughts were, this is all bad.
This stinks! This is total BS!
This is going to destroy humanity. This can't be used for any good. But then recently I heard Chance Garden, who came on the podcast a few months ago. He was saying how if AI is around now, maybe it's actually there for a purpose. Maybe it can be used for good.
Huh.
And also, as I've learned, nothing is 100% good or 100% bad. There has to be room for nuance. Because of this concept of duality, everything can be used for good or bad, depending on who's in charge of it, and who's actually using it, and what purpose is behind it, and the intentions behind it. It's like, just as I'm always saying with social media, it's a tool. It can be used for good or bad. The people in power, quote unquote, who brought social media to the masses, were obviously doing so for nefarious purposes. But if you see what's going on these days, it's actually being used to spread a lot of truth to people, and it's actually backfiring on the people who wanted to use it to indoctrinate more people and to brainwash the masses more. And I absolutely love having a platform on social media, and it's allowed me the opportunity to connect with so many people who I otherwise would have never known and who I never would have had the chance to speak with, connect with, share my consciousness with, share my experience with.
I've seen you so many times, and now we can finally talk to each other.
Hey, what was I telling you? Isn't this nice?
And this is one of the reasons why I actually don't like whenever certain influencers go on social media and get millions of views by telling you to get off your phone completely, never use it again. It's all toxic, all bad. I mean, as many of you guys know, I'm all for getting reconnected with nature, with turning off our phones for periods of time during the day, for making time to do nothing, to meditation, to connecting with people in real life. But does this mean that we can't use social media to make awesome connections and build a platform and spread a positive message and spread an amazing impact on people? So it's deeper than just this black or white.
This is not about black and white.
It's not that social media or AI or technology is all bad or all good. It depends on who's using it and what it's being used for. Next up. Now, if you watch any movie where the AI or the robots become too powerful, whether it's iRobot,
Does thinking you're the last sane man on the face of the earth make you crazy? Because if it does, maybe I am.
Ready Player One, Terminator, Ex Machina, and all this is predictive programming us with this idea of technology becoming too powerful? Or also, could it be revelation of the method for preparing us to get ready for when this stuff does take over our world? And of course, I'm not for that, and I'm not for AI taking over every human job, for taking over every aspect of our society. But for instance, I actually recently bought this program called Time Bolt, and this has helped me massively when it comes to editing my videos, because prior to having this, it was taking me days upon days, hours and hours,
many hours later,
of editing just to do this one tedious aspect of the editing process. So by using this AI tool, which removes all pauses and all dead air, now this actually opens me up to being able to spend more time on the creative aspects of my videos. It gives me a chance to put more time into the thumbnails, which are an awesome creative outlet for my expression. And I love making podcasts, I love making these videos, I love putting all my creative energy into these processes. And then it's awesome because I get to share these with any listeners who come along for the journey. Now, of course, one of the major problems with AI, as I see it, is that it's another model for outsourcing our truth and knowledge to whatever inputs the people who make it are giving it.
I control the truth! Mysterio is the truth!
And as I'm always saying, it's so important to question everything, and whether it's the mainstream media, whether it's the government, whether it's ChatGPT, we can't blindly outsource our knowledge, our intuition, our creative energy, and our power to these things that will never resemble the human spirit and that will never be in our best interest. So once again, just as with social media, which started out as a platform for the elites, I mean, for any of you guys who've ever looked into the actual history behind Facebook, which was an offshoot of LifeLog, which was a CIA program, and came out right after it, and the whole Mark Zuckerberg, or any of these elite billionaires
who's not a billionaire,
who just happen to be in the right place at the right time and who happen to work so much harder than you. None of those stories actually add up. But social media was originally supposed to be used by the elites to expand their control over us. But what's actually happened? The human spirit has taken over. We've been able to share more truth than ever. And many of us have actually decided to use these platforms for good and for creating more positivity in the world. Now, going back to this concept of the 3-day work week, which Bill Gates suggests is gonna happen because AI is just gonna take over all of our jobs, which is what they want, because all this ties into us eating the bugs, not owning anything and being happy, just living in their metaverse, or living in one of these line cities, living completely in this virtual world, as opposed to living in the amazing creation that God gave us. But I also don't like the idea of people not working at all.
But I don't have to worry about working for a while. A long while.
That's funny because I haven't seen you working for a while.
I'm retiring.
From what?
From the grind. I mean, who needs it?
Because work actually gives many of us purpose. It gives us something to strive for. Now, of course, as I've spoken about on here in the past, the whole Rockefeller education system is about creating a nation of workers rather than a nation of thinkers. And so, when you're only doing work for the state, and when you're just working to keep the whole matrix going, that work is not going to be fulfilling, and it's not going to be supporting your purpose. And so there has to be a distinction between work that actually aligns you with your higher purpose and with benefiting humanity, as opposed to just working solely to make money and solely to stay alive and solely to stay out of prison, essentially, because that's the whole taxation system. It's ransom, as I mentioned on here in the past. But when that work is only guided by materialism and by just gaining more possessions, as opposed to aligning our work with our passions and our overall purpose, then it's going to lead to more unfulfillment and feelings of unsatisfaction and feelings of emptiness. Having said that though, I do think we need more free time in our lives. We need more time to explore, we need more time to read, we need more time for truth seeking, we need more time for a connection with others, we need more time to expand our friendships, relationships, etc., and to get better connected with our own selves and what we really desire in this life, rather than only being fixated on what the rest of society wants for us. Because these days people are working way too many hours at a job they hate.
Tough day at the office?
People kept coming in, and that phone just wouldn't stop.
You're probably getting an ulcer. This job is killing you.
Working a 9 to 5 just to make money, just to put food on the table. When you're spending more time on things that don't align you with your best self and with your higher purpose, then yes, of course, you might be working too many hours at something that doesn't actually leave you feeling satisfied and whole.
You complete me.
So while I do think that we do need work to an extent to be part of our lives and to give us purpose here, the issue is they've convinced us that we have to take these jobs we hate and they want to make our lives in the real world miserable so that this way we're going to be begging for the AI or all these pods as they show in Ready Player One, where everyone is living miserable in the real world, but then in this virtual world, which is similar to the metaverse, everyone seemingly has all these possessions.
The Oasis. A whole virtual universe.
But what happens at the end of the movie, they ultimately realize that living in this fake virtual world and staying there all the time is never going to be as amazing as this incredible world that we've all been blessed to live in, as God's special creations.
The third thing we did wasn't as popular. We closed the Oasis on Tuesdays and Thursdays. People need to spend more time in the real world. Like Halliday said, reality is the only thing that's real.
The next aspect why I don't like the idea of a 3-day work week is because the whole thing is most people would likely use that extra time to be even lazier, to watch more Netflix, to get drunk, and overall, based on where I see this current culture and this current society heading, most people will probably use that extra time for more vices.
Is this all we're going to do today?
Absolutely.
Rather than more productivity and more prioritizing things that actually matter in their lives, like family, fitness, connection, pursuing passions that they otherwise don't have time for, exploring the world.
There's really nothing left to explore.
Reading more books, going to the gym more, playing more sports. It's like for any of you who've ever seen the movie Bee Movie, what happens when all the bees stop making honey because the humans give it all back to them?
Where is everybody?
No, they're just home. They don't know what to do. They're laying out, they're sleeping in. This was my new job. I wanted to do it really well.
You end up with a society of lazy people who don't want to do anything because everything is provided for them. So this is like communism basically. And I don't really have an answer as far as what the perfect economic system is, but I do know that communism is awful.
Well, I didn't realize it was such a sensitive issue.
Communism? You didn't realize communism was a sensitive issue.
And it's never worked for a reason, as it always ends up leading to greedy, horrible, maniacal people taking over and taking all the goods for themselves and leaving the scraps to the peasants. What they end up realizing at the end of Bee Movie is that without work, oftentimes you end up lacking purpose, and you might think that you're going to use that extra time for good, but oftentimes, if you don't have a solid spiritual backing, that extra time is just going to go towards more vices, more laziness, and less passion-pursued drive. Furthermore, I don't think the AI could ever become truly conscious, but the problem is, if they can manipulate us into thinking that these things, whether it's robots or technology, or any of this artificial intelligence, are more real than life itself, then we have problems. Which is like what happens in Ex Machina, because by the end of the movie, the people don't even realize that the robot is a robot.
If I didn't know better, I'd say he was a robot.
And they'll treat her like a human.
Do you know what the Turing test is?
It's when a human interacts with a computer. And if the human doesn't know they're interacting with a computer, the test is passed.
And this definitely could be a dangerous foreboding for robots in our world and for AI. But AI can never become sentient unless God wants it to. Unless God starts creating robot babies or technology babies or whatever. But I don't see that ever being an actual thing, no matter how much the movies and no matter how much the people in power want that to become so. And lastly, one more thing I want to address in this video is that when you start letting AI create art or culture, which is based on the people giving the AI the inputs, because once again, AI can never truly become its own thinking self as far as I know. It's always going to be based on whoever's driving the inputs. But the issue with AI and allowing it to create culture, create art, to do the work for us, you end up outsourcing once again and giving away these God-given human creativity.
Can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece? Can you?
And trust me, humans are amazing. When we're not being hindered by destructive mental programming, brainwashing, or poisoning or indoctrination, we can do anything, I believe, as long as we understand our true nature for being here on this earth. And once we get back to understanding how powerful we really are, and once we start cultivating the power of our minds, power of our bodies, we're ultimately going to realize how little we actually need this extra artificial intelligence, because we really are the artificial intelligence at the end of the day. We are the most powerful things that have ever been created. And so when we remember this, hopefully we won't need to be reliant on any artificial intelligence, and we can actually use it to our benefit. We could use it to make us more productive. We could use it to be more creative in all of our endeavors. We could use it to create magnificent works of art. We could use it alongside us. Not instead of, but alongside us.
Does this make us friends?
And that's, I think, my main takeaway in this video on this topic, is that it doesn't have to be all artificial intelligence or none. It doesn't have to be all technology or none. I never like whenever people say the world was better before technology, because chances are technology has always been around to an extent. It's just been hidden from us. And I do think that we actually were meant to interact with certain aspects of technology. We just weren't meant to allow it to control our whole lives and to take over us. And ultimately, I do want to end this video by saying that we do need to reconnect with nature. We do need to unplug from technology way more than we do. When we do use technology, we need to use it more intentionally. We have to be the ones who are in charge of what we're actually using the technology for. We have to be the ones who guide it in the right direction, because if we do that, then I believe we can actually create harmony with technology alongside us, but not instead of us, because that's when you end up with these massive issues. That's when you end up with less God and more satanic stuff. But I don't think that you have to fully get rid of technology, or you have to fully get rid of AI in order to have heaven on earth. I think you do need to understand the dangers of technology and AI and of overusing it, and we do need to work on cultivating our own human spirit more. And I'm definitely not on the side of Bill Gates when it comes to this issue, but I don't know, maybe could we be meant to interact with technology and artificial intelligence during this time? Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I would love to hear all of your thoughts, especially because during this episode, I didn't really have any clear answers as to what the ultimate solution is to this growing issue and to this growing potential problem. So I would love to hear any of your inputs, not artificial intelligence inputs, but let me know your thoughts on the subject. Anyways, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think of this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace!